Someone threw everything that's on the table into the air, and nobody who is supposed to explain it or stop it is doing either. They are just normalizing it. And most of us are standing there trying to make sense of everything while it is still in the air before it lands. That's where I am. And if you are here, I'm guessing that this is also somewhere close to where you are too. I'm not going to tell you what to think about any of this. I'm not even going to sell you a solution or a date or a price target. What I am going to do is follow a thread, one that started with a technology most people dismissed or lost money on or never understood. And that thread keeps pulling me into places I did not expect to care about at all, which is global finance. Who holds power over how the world moves money? And what it means that the foundation underneath all of it is shifting right now. Not someday, now. This is episode 1 of what I think is going to be a longer conversation. I don't know where it ends. I'm not even sure if it ends. But I know I cannot look away from it. And I don't think you should either. I want to start with where I was when this first felt like a real possibility. At the time, the SEC in the United States was going after Ripple. Bitcoin had already become lore. And the people who passed on it early, who did not recognize it in time, I did not have to look far to find them. I actually was one of them. And the meme coin casino was running fully. People making life changing money on things with nothing underneath them at all. I was not following a financial strategy when I looked at XRP. I was actually developing a compass just before and during this. One that was teaching me to look past the noise and figure out what was actually true. And when I pointed that compass at Ripple, I did not just feel something, I went and I looked. The board of directors, their CVs, what they were actually connected to, what they had built before this. And what I found made the feeling tangible. This was not a bet on hype for me. This was a bet on people and infrastructure that had real weight behind it. And I'm sure most people were not looking at it the way that I was. But that's what I saw. And looking back, I understand why most people were not paying attention to this. Meme coins were being compared to the Wild West, and utility projects were being policed into non-action. The lawsuit sent a signal, and for most people, that signal was enough to look away completely or never look at all. But I had context for that feeling. Watching something real get treated like a threat without a clear reason why. I had lived inside that logic before it showed up in the courtroom that I was looking at the time. So instead of the signal pushing me out, it actually pulled me in further. I held this vision through a lot of unknowingness. And I will be honest, I did not do it alone. There were creators in this space that I was watching who helped me carry through the periods where nothing was moving. And the doubt that I had was super loud. And that matters a lot. And then things started moving. Rumors became lobbying, lobbying became legislation. And the administration that came in the past year came in with a crypto as a stated priority, and that has actually happened in real time. And there is a part of me that feels the excitement of watching something that I believed in early to start to take shape in the real world. But I cannot separate that excitement from what I am watching happen at the same time. The people closest to the levers seem to be gaining, not seem to, are gaining billions in the process. The question about legality that are not coming from the fringe edges, they're actually coming from people across the spectrum who are watching the same thing. And then there is the part that hits closer. People like me who saw this early, who held the vision, who did the work, are now in a position where waiting feels like a luxury some of us do not have. Big money can wait and sit through volatility. It can afford to see if the door will open all the way or wait till it will open all the way. I don't have that. And what and I want to be clear about what I mean. This is not just about capital. Some people have lost work, entire industries contracted around them completely. For me, it was a different kind of cost. I actually made a choice to leave a life that wasn't working for me. Not because I failed at it, but because staying inside a structure that was breaking me was not something I was willing to keep doing. Different paths to the same place. The floor moved for a lot of people. Not always because they made wrong choices, but because the floor moved. And those are exactly the people being told right now that ownership is the answer, without anyone stopping to acknowledge what it costs just to still be standing. That is not a personal failure. That is a structural reality. And it is the same structural reality that walks us directly into why any of what is happening next actually matters. And here is where it gets hard to hold. The same forces accelerating the onboarding of a new financial infrastructure are also accelerating the instability that makes that infrastructure feel urgent. And underneath that, something even harder to sit with, entire civilization's existence seeming to be at cost. For much of my life, I thought change had to come with the destruction of everything before it. And I'm learning that that is absolutely not true. And I also want it to not be true for the world as well. And I understand that this is a grand hope. I understand why most people will not look at this or cannot look at this or do not know how to look at this. It's overwhelming. Much of it does not seem to make sense from one day to the next. And the cost on people's daily lives is real and immediate. But under the noise, something massive is shifting. The thing that gave the United States the power to be what it is shifting. With every tweet that seems to contradict the one before it. With every ceasefire that does not last longer than the newspaper that it was printed on. It feels so obscene, it almost feels comical. But the cost is high, and the comedy does not cancel the cost. The petrodollar, the thing that made the United States dollar present in every corner of the world, is shifting, if not already gone. Countries, no matter where they sit, are asking how long the promises made with the US will hold. Countries are saying, yes, you can access our resources, but not without bringing us into the middle of it. And here we are, disengaged, because there is only so much noise a person can take before sanity starts to cost too much. I get that. I feel that. But something is moving underneath it. And that something is where stablecoins live. Not as a product, as a response, as the infrastructure the world reaches for when the foundation of the old system starts showing what was always underneath it. I believed in this technology before any of this was visible, and I still do. But I have to be honest about what is driving it into the world right now. It's not just a vision, it's necessity. And the world creating that necessity is the same world making it harder for people like me to be anything other than a witness to it. I know how easy it is to want a fast solution, something that changes all of this quickly. I don't think that's possible. But I do think this. The faster the chaos spins, the faster something has to exist to catch everything that falls. There are other options that will, let me reframe that. There may be other options for what that looks like. But I find it hard to ignore that a country going up against the most powerful nation in the world said, we are no longer willing to use your currency to move the energy the entire world depends on. And what they said they would use instead was the Chinese yuan and stablecoins. And the suits that I mentioned in the previous episode, the ones already inside the system, they are saying the same thing from the other direction. The US is moving toward this technology. So are we. And we can either use what the US has built or build our own. So while everything is still in the air, my suggestion is this. Look down at your feet. They are still on the ground. And then look at the patterns. Look at the positioning of the people who hold the power. Look at the civilizations thousands of years old that are making moves right now that most people are not paying attention to. That is what I'm watching. And I will be back with what I find.